Hey, how are you guys doing? Okay. All right. No, I'm not, I didn't think you were leaving. I think they left. Right? I like doing these things. How many of you have been in a room with me live before? How many of you have not? Awesome! This is going to be awesome. Because I like interaction. That's definitely one of the things I thrive on. So the more you give, the more I will do the same. And here's the thing. I'm here for you. I'm here for that person who says to themselves, you know, maybe there's a person in this room who's going, you know what? I spent my last dollar to get here. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get home. But I got to make sure that this thing works. And I heard somewhere that you made it work. So I'm hoping you say something that can give me one good idea. In fact, for all of you, that's my intent. My intent tonight is to leave you just a little bit smarter than when you walked in that door. Now, for some of you, that's going to be really, really easy. For others of you, it's not. But here's the thing. I'm not good at pulling punches, and you're going to find that out as the night goes on. But here's what I'm really trying to say. I want to raise your financial IQ. I want to help you be a little bit smarter, not only about your money, but more importantly, this business called real estate investing. How many of you are willing to admit that you've been involved in real estate investing for far too long, been thinking about it for far too long, and have had far too little results? Right? You know? And that my goal is to help you get past all of that. For the past few years, I've been involved in real estate investing, and I'm going to show you this story in here in just a second, because it's easier when I put it in video to do that as opposed to just tell you. But the key thing to understand is that tonight my intent, like I said, is for you to learn something, for you to walk away with something that's actionable, so that when you leave here, you are changed, and more importantly, within the next 7 days or so, maybe less for some of you, you have the ability to make a big difference. And by difference, I mean dollars, because it's the only thing that's really going to matter for a number of you in some way, shape, or form, but definitely progress. With that being said, what I want to do is you can look at that, you can think about all that's, today, yay, properties, commercial buildings, cell phone towers. I've done a lot of different types of transactions, from land, vacant, and all this other stuff. It's a long way of saying that the thing that I like the most is cash flow. That's what I care about. Some of you, you're fix and flippers. Wonderful, love you, not your guy. All right? It's just not my thing. I like the repeatable cash, and I'm going to show you why numerically here in a second. One of the things I just want to really, really want you to get, though, is that one of the basic lessons, no matter what you hear me say tonight, is that I don't really care where you are starting from. I just don't. I don't care how much you've done in the past. I don't care what's happened in the past. What I only care about is where you want to go into the future. Does that make sense? Can we agree, at least for the next tonight, until midnight, I'm giving you permission to let the past be the past and not bring it into today and right now? Can we do that? Yes or yes? Yes. Yes or yes? Yes. Okay. One of the things that I require is 100% participation. How many people can tell me how many of us is 100%? That's everybody, right? That means no one's left out. So, can I get you to let those things that maybe followed you in this room that you were thinking about, can I get you to leave those outside for just a second so that you might be able to be in a space to where I could help you move forward? Yes or yes? Yes. Thank you. That's much better. Much better. Now, you see this, and that's wonderful. That's great. We're working on deals all the time. I've got a commercial deal going right now that we're putting some capital in and raising for. All that stuff is great. But what's really important, more than anything, and to me, is what we started with. And I'm going to do my best to give you that understanding in a really, really, yes?
I'm sorry, it's just bugging me. What's with the cell phone tower?
What's with the cell phone tower? What do you mean? Does anyone else want to know about the cell phone tower? Got it. Who has a T-Mobile phone? Raise your hand. Thank you. Please continue to pay your bill. Here's why. Everything's a real estate deal. Everything. Everything. On your way home, you're going to look at everything differently now. You've seen, especially out here in California, you see these fake pine trees that are supposedly still cell phone towers, right? What are they standing on? Someone else's real estate. Most cell phone companies don't own the land that cell phone tower is on. Someone else does. And they pay rent, which means every time you pay your bill, part of that bill comes to me if you're on T-Mobile. Make sense? Yes. Thank you. So I like them because those are some of the best tenants on the planet. They take about 500 square feet and they never complain. They do their own maintenance. I don't have to insure them. The check just shows up. And even more important than that, I can show you a strategy where if you're always thinking about Blackstone and these large hedge funds, and if you want to figure out how to get into their pocket and take some of that money, cell phone towers, billboards is a great strategy and a way to make that happen. So that's what's with the cell phone tower. It's cash flow and it makes a great tenant. That's what I care about. What's that?
How much time do you spend hanging out with the cell phone tower?
The cell phone tower never calls me, so I actually don't spend any time.
Every once in a while.
No.
You never drove by and be like that.
I saw it twice. I'm done. It's good. It's still there. The signal strength, awesome. I'm good. Don't need to check on it. And that's the thing. Cell phone towers, again, it's just another tenant. I'm a cash flow person. You won't hear me use this word too frequently. I am what I call asset agnostic. I care about it producing cash flow. So does that mean that could be commercial retail? That's apartment buildings, especially right now. Commercial retail and apartment buildings is kind of where I've landed, 70 units and above. Like I said, doing the retail deal right now. And then cell phone towers and billboards. That's like my thing. So, but they all produce cash flow. That's my thing. I'm not trying to improve something and then flip it. Yes?
Why are you 70 units and above on apartments?
Got it. Got it. This is funny. I was not planning on talking about this, but all right. Cool. They want to know. I did ask for participation, and this might be the fastest I've ever gotten it, so this is good. 70 units and above came from because I started at 8 units, 8 to 70 units, and I did those things, and I'm done with that. It started to feel like so for a while I had like 200 single family houses, and it just got to be, it was just crazy. It's just like, dude, I don't need another roof to break. I'm tired of boilers. I hate snow. I'm done with the single family houses. And then I started collecting small multifamily buildings, and then it started to feel like single family houses again. And at this stage in our company, it is easier for me to manage. It's actually cheaper for me to manage a 70 to 200 unit complex. I'm going to spend the exact same dollars amount of manpower, resources, any accounting types in here? Excellent. My contribution margins, etc., are going to be very, very similar on that one building, and I can't make up for it on the income when it's less than 70 units. Plus, now I can have the leverage of staff, especially on site, and local knowledge, which has consistently assisted me in avoiding issues in maintenance, as well as having a better reputation in that particular marketplace, i.e. police, judges, all those types of things that tend to matter, because once your portfolio gets to be a certain size, politicians want to call you friends. And I don't speak their language all the time, so, it helps. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes.
Do you have a microphone? We've got a blower over our heads. It's very hard to hear you.
I do not have a microphone, but I can speak louder. Would that help you?
Yes.
All right.
Joanne, also, if you want to move, feel free to do so. There's obviously
Right. Yes. Okay. There's many spots. So what I want to do, like I said, is I'm just going to play you a quick video to give you just an understanding of kind of what Christina was talking about, how we got started. How I got into real estate, it's rather an interesting story. It's not typical. It wasn't because I woke up one day and said, hey, I can't wait to be a real estate investor. For me and my wife, it was kind of different. A few short years ago, I was a financial planner doing financial planning stuff, and I enjoyed that. I love helping people. That's what I learned from being a financial planner. I also learned that I could take something that is perceived to be complicated and make it simple. Well, that was good. Some of the challenges, though, was that my wife, when she's pregnant, she has a condition known as hyperemesis. And if you've never heard of that, I don't blame you, because I hadn't heard of it until it happened. We were in a situation that we were unfamiliar territory, all of a sudden, immediately. It simply means she couldn't eat or drink while pregnant. She almost died a few times, and I was freaking out. And one day, because I was freaking out, I went to try to blow off steam, and I went to play volleyball. While playing volleyball, well, I jumped high, and I landed on a guy's head and punctured my lung. And that made it worse. I have asthma, and I developed pleurisy. Together with the drug interaction, I was unable to walk and talk simultaneously without fainting. So all of this was going on, and a friend came to me and said, you should become a real estate investor. I'm like, really? That did not make sense. But I listened, I went, and I'm glad I did. Even the way we started, we had a credit score of 398, couldn't put $75 together, but I didn't let what we didn't have stop us. It was one of the first times I've ever made a decision like that. Since then, getting started in real estate, we've been able to do hundreds of transactions in many different states and been able to help lots of people, lots of families provide clean, safe, affordable housing. We provide jobs, and we've got commercial property and international interest now, and it's just amazing what's possible when you begin to believe. And that's kind of, I think, what I want to say. Is that maybe now it's time for you to begin to believe, because you never know what you're going to be doing. You don't know that you could meet the very person that is your role model. You don't know whom you're going to be able to impact. But here's what I do know. Your story's not over. Take it one day at a time. Because you don't know who you can become until you're forced into a situation to try. I just wanted to feed my family. That's all my goal. I just want to eat. I want to make sure my kids eat. I want to make sure that we have, occasionally get to go have some fun, get to go do some things. I don't think that's asking for too much. But now it's turned into more. I've been able to help lots of people, either one-on-one or our group sessions. I've been able to help people get their first properties. I've been able to help people get their first single-family houses, multi-family houses, and many have even invested with us in various different capacities. A few years ago, I promise you, I would have never had that thought, that this would be what I was doing. But it is. I guess it's worth beginning to believe. Awesome. Thank you. Let me cover a couple of basic things, because these questions always come up. I mentioned that we lost the house. That was February 13th, 2008. Ladies, what's the day after that? Aha! See, you thought you got a bad Valentine's Day gift. This is what I did. All right? So that was that day. The people often ask me, when was the first real estate transaction closed? That was June 18th of 2008. That was a house, 2-bedroom, 1-bath over in San Bernardino. I used subject to purchases in order to do that. Basically, have you ever seen We Take Over Payments? That's kind of what I did there, and raised the capital to be able to do the rehab and put a tenant in there. That's kind of how that went. I started, people then also usually ask, the next question was, when did you start doing multifamily stuff? And that was April of 2010 is when I closed on the first apartment building. So from here to here was about 200 or so single family transactions. Well, actually more than 200 because we had a ton of houses. Anyway, a lot of activity is what I did. I know how to take action. I'm one of the best implementers on this planet when it comes to moving. Moving at the speed of instruction is what I like to call it. I function in a time frame known as now o'clock. I suggest some of you obtain the ability to do the same thing. And we've been in this process of getting rid of the single family houses, almost done, yay, and have been focused on the commercial stuff and single or commercial stuff and commercial and apartment buildings ever since. I've never, so let me cover this. I've never used a bank. Any bankers in here? Okay, sorry. I don't know how to fill out a 1003, apply for a loan, never used my own credit, don't know how to do that. I know how to raise capital and buy an asset. That's what I know how to do. So I think that's the majority of the normal questions that people tend to ask, like, wow, how did all of that happen? And what I want to do for you is go through the 7-step system that I've developed that helps a lot of people do the exact same thing once they understand all these other pieces. So how many of you would be excited to learn how to not need to use a bank if you wanted to? Great. How many of you would be able to be excited if you could have more than enough investors come your way ready to actually hand you money and, more importantly, give you the ability to go out there to do the types of projects you know need doing? But that, yeah, right? Why is it always the project you want to do is the very one the bank will say no to, right? And the one you don't want to do is like, yeah, they'll do that one. Anyway, I just find that funny. And again, I welcome questions and all of the interruptions. Yes? Oh, I thought I saw your hand. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry.
See, I got eyes everywhere. Eyes everywhere. I am paying attention. So what I'm going to do, like I said, is I want to make sure that you understand some of the things. How many of you have never raised $1, like at all? Like you've never raised any capital whatsoever? Like the idea of talking to someone about using hundreds of thousands of their dollars freaks you out. Yeah, okay, good. Thank you for being honest. And you're probably wondering, why would someone do that, right? Why would anyone do that? Well, it's clear when you consider the situation that we're in. And this is the thing we as real estate entrepreneurs must understand. If you fail to get this, the rest isn't going to matter. Because the only time you and I, as humans, ever give up $1 is to solve a problem. That's it. When you're thirsty, even when you stop at AM PM, you know that bottle of water is $8, but you go and buy it because you're thirsty. At that moment, it was a great value proposition. When you go to Disneyland, God, they know it, don't they? And you buy it. And by the way, I have 4 children, 19, 7, 6, and 4. Pray for me later. 3 girls, 1 boy. Yeah. I made the mistake recently of going to Build-A-Bear with the small ones. And I was just like, dude, how do we get out of here without spending like $300? It was crazy. It's a bear, but yet it needs skates. Anyway, and they know it. Because you're not, you're in the store. How are you going to say no to your kid right there while all the other kids are getting skates? Anyway, I'm on a tangent, but you got my point, right? Here's the deal. We solve a problem in the marketplace when it comes to being real estate investors, right? When you look at this, only 58% of Americans have a job right now. 56% currently covered by employer-provided health insurance. We're not even going to go down there. But look at the median yearly wage in the United States is $26,621. How many of you, like, how do they, like, is that in California? You're wondering, where is this? Is that a problem? Is that livable? No, it's not. And that's part of the thing that I'm trying to bring to your attention is that we are real estate entrepreneurs. You must remember this. For some reason, if I said to you, hey, I got a new plan for making markers or widgets, everybody goes, cool, it's a business. But as soon as we say, hey, I want to be in real estate, we throw everything we think we know about business out the window, and we get so fixated on what color the stinking tub is going to be that we forget that it's still a business that has to solve problems and must function under the same rules and laws. And that's what the 7 steps are all about. But you've got to first understand the issue and the problem that we have the ability to solve. Today, there are more than 44 million Americans on food stamps, and nearly half of them are children. Can we do something about this? The answer is yes, you can. Whether you care about that particular group of individuals or not isn't the point. All I'm trying to say is that there's a problem, and you have the ability to solve it. Why? Because you have ideas. How many of you have ever been in a store? You had this happen to you. You're in the store, Walmart, Target, Nordstrom, whatever. You're doing your thing, you're walking down the aisle, and then something catches your eye out of the corner, and you look at that, and you say, I had that same idea. You ever had that happen to you? Yes. You know what that means? You got great ideas. Every one of you, in my opinion, has $1 million business in their head. The problem is, it's only in your head. We've got to get it out of the head, past the heart, and out there to help other people. And I believe very strongly, real estate is the place where you can do that. More importantly, this system will help you make it happen. Your retirement plans, how many of you know someone who's just given up on that idea? Like, I'm not going to retire, right? Now, Christina, you're different. You and I are different because we like what we do and we don't plan on stop doing it anyway. But there were people who thought there's going to come this transition. I'm going to do this for a while and then later I'll get to do X, Y, and Z. But that later doesn't seem to be materializing. And here's the standard, here's the challenge. The challenge is that when they were in their working years, they were told to save a bunch of money, a big pile of cash, right? And that's the problem. So I'm going to illustrate something for you mathematically that might help you understand why cash flow is so much more important than a big pile of cash. All right, so here we go. I'm going to do a couple of things here. I'm going to switch this there. And that did not happen like I was hoping. That is not what I was expecting to see. Let's try this and that with this. And there we go. And it's still gray. 1 second. Is that better? Excellent. And the calculator. Can you see that now? Yes. Awesome. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some math. Don't tune out on me, right? I know I said the M word. How many of you like money? Excellent. How many of you like math? How many of you realize that math and money are the same? How many of you now like math? Exactly. Okay, so here we go. So here's where I'm coming from. Let's pretend for a second you only wanted to earn $100 per month. But you want to earn this money without getting up, without working, without sitting on the 4 or 5 hours just to get here, you know? Let's just pretend that that might be something you want to do. $100 a month, is that going to pay for anything? Maybe your cell phone bill. Maybe, if you only have one. Right? Okay. What's that? It's not with Verizon, right, exactly. What's that? Yeah, T-Mobile. Yes, I'm in. There it is. Okay, so $100. Let's just start here though, because I want to show you the value of $100 a month. $100 a month. It's not going to really float your boat and change your life. All right, but let's just look at it differently. How much is that if I was looking at that on an annual basis? You can do that math. That's $1,200. See, $1,200. See, I told you, it's working already. Already smarter. Here's what we're going to do, though. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to go over and look at bankrate.com real fast. Excellent. Because I want you to see something that you might not have considered before. So what I'm doing really quickly is that I'm looking for the absolute, I'm trying to make it bigger too, the absolute best rate I can find on a certificate of depression, also known as a certificate of deposit. And we're going to just compare, because that's all I can do is just compare to see what that would, like, how much money would I have to have in the bank to make this work. So let me see. The best rate I see is 2.45%. Do you see a number that is higher? I do not. Can you even see that? Yes, you can. Good. It's working. So I see 2.45%. So let's pretend there's no such thing as taxes. Okay? Let's pretend there's no such thing as inflation. How much money do I need to have in the bank in order to earn $1,200 a year? Who knows how to do the math? Okay, I'm going to show you. Simple. All you got to do is divide by the interest rate that you're receiving. That's it. So all I'm going to do is go back over here to the calculator, take the 1,200, divide it by 2.45%, and that's going to give me $48,979.59. Okay, he says 49,000. We'll round up. That means I got to pay all my bills. I got to do everything I normally do and put an additional $50,000 to the side. See, I rounded up again. An additional $50,000 to the side to hopefully get 100. How's that going? It's kind of tough, right? And this is the very thing that most people were told to do. That's what they were told to do. Use a 401k to go out there, or IRA, work really hard, save a whole bunch of money, get a big pile of cash, and then hopefully that pile of cash will be there later to help you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, do any of these IRAs deal with stocks and bonds and other kinds of?
Yeah.
So people may make 6% in the stock market.
Absolutely. So you want to do it with 6%? Would that make you feel better?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Let's do that. So now we are going to 6%. That's awesome. Okay. Now we're not going to talk about the financial intelligence required to get that 6%, but we're just going to say 6%. So now we're going to take that same $1,200, divide that by 6%, and you know what? You only need an extra $20,000 now. That sounds better.
$1,200 a year.
Except it's still only $1,200 a year. Do you hear what I'm saying? It sounds, yeah, cool. Now I'm down to $20,000. That's great. You save the 20, and the best you can get is a hamburger. This is the challenge. It's how we invest our time that doesn't produce a high enough return. We're investing our time, which is our number one asset, to go directly for cash, which is not an asset. It's actually a debt instrument. It actually becomes worth less over time. Talk to anyone who's worked any amount of time. Like, is someone willing to admit that they were working in 1974? I happen to pick that year because that's the year I was born. And will you tell us what you were earning as a wage? Because I'm curious. Yes?
I was working as a lifeguard, and I had no idea what I was making as a lifeguard that summer.
But the idea, okay, so the idea of earning, would an idea of earning $100,000 in 1974 have been worthwhile?
The idea of it, that was incomprehensible.
Like, why? How on earth would I spend all that money? Right? Today, you're like, that's gone in 3 months. Right? How many of you remember or even know what it cost to mail a letter in 1974? How much? It's 10 cents. Yes, exactly. How much does it cost today?
45.
More. More. You might have been better saving stamps. I'm just saying, you might have done better saving stamps. Because if you save dollars, you got to spend more to get the same value. It's what I'm really talking about is what's known as purchasing power. That's what I'm really talking about. How much time, effort, and energy did it take for you to put aside the $40,000, or in his case, $20,000? How much time? How long do you have to work to do that? Based upon what you're doing today. See, the advantage that real estate has is that, one, you can do the work once. And then you have this maintenance period that you're always checking in on it. See, today, because of all the systems I have in place, it takes me approximately 45 minutes a week to manage my portfolio because of all the systems I have in place, which is kind of cool. Hourly rate is through the roof, right? At that point. The point is, I have my time because we took the time to build assets that produce cash flow, not just cash, right? So the key thing to understand in this particular situation is, one, return on investment. This number is important. The higher the better, clearly, because you don't need as much money. But this is something I want to illustrate for you. How many of you are very comfortable with the situation of having no money in the bank? You are familiar with that more than you wish you were, right? Okay, so let me ask you this question. Did you raise your hand?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Patrick,
Yep.
let me ask you this question. Let's pretend for a second. Today is the 19th. All right, on the 1st of this month, or this coming month, December, there's $10,000 that's going to be deposited in your account. Now, here's the rules. You have to spend every dollar, and if you fail to spend every dollar, on January 1st, no more money is coming. But if you spend every dollar, on January 1st, another $10,000 is going to be deposited in your account. Patrick, serious question. Can you make that work?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There was, how much hesitation was in his voice? How many of you can make that work? So then it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, does it? Because I just said if you have $0 in the bank and you're required to spend every dollar that comes in, so long as you do, another 10 grand shows up. You just told me I could make that work. What you've just admitted without realizing it is that you need an asset or assets that can do that for you. That's really what it comes down to. The only thing I invest my time in is building assets. That's it. An ebook's an asset. Every idea that comes out of your head is an asset. If you learn how to package it, how to promote it, so that other people can also take advantage of it as well. The challenge is we get a little idea stingy and we think we've got the best primo idea, and you might, but I have seen ideas get better when they're shared, and that's the key.